Hello. I thought we would all start with a nice big deep breath because I know it helps settle my nerves. And yes, I still get nervous coming on live. I thought I was getting over that, but no, I'm not. I think when I was coming on live 3 times a week, it was easier to not be nervous. And now I'm doing it once a week, so the nerves creep back in. But here I am, facing my little fears, and funnily enough, there's often no people watching live, and sometimes 1 or 2, and I'm still nervous. Isn't that funny? You'd think I was talking to hundreds of people or something. So I have some notes here to talk to you about today. Always have lots of thoughts in this brain, although it's getting a little calmer, which is nice. And I'm starting with my t-shirt again today. I like to do that. So I know it's backwards, but it says kindness matters. This is another gift from my sister. It's getting a little old. You can see it's a little stretched out. I still get compliments on it though. Recently on our vacation in Virginia, we did summertime tubing down the mountain in Virginia at Wintergreen, and one of the kids said, "Oh, I like your t-shirt," which was really sweet. So kindness matters. It sounds nice. It's a catchy little phrase. And I was just thinking about this yesterday and thinking, well, does it? Does kindness really matter? And I think most of us think it does matter. We know that little acts of kindness can make a big difference in someone's life. We hear stories of someone paying for someone's coffee, or someone just giving someone a kind word at a crucial moment in their life, and the other person maybe didn't even know. So at an intuitive level, we believe it, that kindness matters. There may be some people that are a little more cutthroat that think, well, kindness nice and all, but it's not what's going to get you ahead in life. But I think what matters more is, do we really, really believe that what we do matters? And this applies to kindness. It applies to all the little things in life. And I've been thinking about, if I really believe, do I really believe these ideas that I'm putting out into the world, that I'm sharing with you all? And I think I do really, really believe them in deep down in what, you could call my core or my essence. And something I posted about this week was about knowing, the difference between knowing and believing. And Nicky Hamid, I'm not sure how to say his name, is Nicky is his first name, and his last name is Hamid. And he's very spiritual, and I have just found his perspective to be so soothing and uplifting lately, and so I'm loving reading all his posts. And he talked about the difference between beliefs and knowing, and it really resonated with me. And I think there are things that we know to our bones. Sometimes we can't even put words to them. And so yes, I do believe that kindness matters, but see, there's that word, right? Belief. Do I believe it or do I know it? I know that kindness matters. So that feels even more powerful, right? So I've been thinking about whether our small actions can make a difference, because that's basically what I'm trying to help people see, that if they change their lives, it's going to have an impact on the world, that we don't have to think so big, that we don't have to know everything that's going on in the world. We don't have to know every little current event and horrible thing that's going on so that we can change those things. And in fact, often we can't directly change those things, which gets us into a place of powerlessness. We feel powerless, even if though we are not. We're very powerful. So can something so small make a difference? That's one of my favorite little memes that I made, where it's that quote about a man who wanted to change the world, but after a while he realized he couldn't change the world, so he tried to change his nation. Then after a while he realized, well, I can't change the nation, so I'm going to try and change my city. And from then kept getting smaller and smaller till he finally realized what he could change, and that was himself. And so to me, that's kind of the whole point, that we work on ourselves, and when we do that, actually what happens is when we change ourselves, our families change. When our families change, our communities change. When our communities change, our towns change. When our towns and cities change, our states change. When our states change, our nation changes. It all began with ourselves. If you don't follow the Bob Mahan experience yet, I highly recommend following him. He has been on fire lately. And one of the things he talked about this week was our energy and the battles that we fight. And he has been talking a lot about consent and complying and what that means to him and his family and the conversations they have. So he talks about how they do comply with things because he's not willing to fight every single battle. And he doesn't believe that complying makes him a good person, but he also knows that he is not going to fight every battle there is into life because he wants to enjoy his life. Now, I really align with a lot of what Bob says, and I really think what he's getting at is that I believe if I'm focusing on my family and taking care of myself and what needs to be done right now in my life, that when I get to those bigger moments in life where there is actually, quote, a battle or something that needs to be done right then, I'm going to be better prepared. And that's what he was saying too, that we'll have the energy then. But when we expend all our energy on all these little things, that maybe when we get to those bigger points, we actually won't have the energy. So what's an example of this? Lately, I have been really focused. I have my project. I keep talking about that phrase, Ilford, cultivar notre jardin. It's my garden. I'm working on building this community, and it feels so good. I feel creative. I'm making things. I love making things. I love making pretty things. I love sharing them with people. I love writing. I love talking. So, I'm doing all the things I love, and it helps me a lot. I don't have time to do some of those other things that suck my energy. So anyways, I lost my train of thought a little bit there. I'm doing all those little things with this project of mine. And, I know I was giving you an example. Sometimes you just have to keep talking, I was giving you an example. So I have also done some other things that could be considered like more political activism. I've made some phone calls. I called some local schools to help out some friends whose children go to school. And I asked about masking policy, and I made it very clear that I do not support masking children in school because there's no scientific evidence that it helps, and there's lots of evidence that it harms our children. So I made those phone calls. This week, we had to go to the library, and I really, really deep in my core do not want to put masks back on myself. I don't want my family to be masking again. From what I've seen, there's no evidence that mask mandates help, which means that, high compliance, there's a really great graph of Japan right now. Japan has very high compliance because that's their culture, and their cases are right now. So Tom Woods does a great job of showing this. He has a quiz. I can't remember the website for his quiz right now, but if you look up Tom Woods, it's like charts quiz, you will see there's no correlation between masking and mask mandates and what's going on in the world with illness. Anyways, we went to the library, and I thought I'd be able to pick the book up outside because I knew that the county we're in is ramping things back up. But I was not able to pick it up outside. So I gathered myself, I took a deep breath, and I walked right by that sign that said masks required. I smiled. I told the librarian, I'm here to pick up a book I have on hold. She got it for me, asked if I wanted a receipt. I said, no, thank you. Thank you very much. Walked right back to those big signs and left. And I felt so good about myself. Now, I am prepared if I go to a store or a place where I meet someone who tells me that I'm not allowed in, to be very calm. I do not want to be confrontational. I don't want to get in a fight or an argument, and I will leave if necessary. But I am not one to break rules. I do not enjoy that kind of thing. I was actually a very rule follower growing up. So anyways, my point being is that because for the most part I'm staying in this energy of creation, I'm staying very happy and calm, I have more resources when I have moments like that where I feel very strongly. Now, Bob is making different choices than me, and that's another point of his, that we don't all make the same choices. We don't have the same line, and that doesn't mean that one of us is right and one of us is wrong. Now, the people that I really want to help are the people that are aligning with me and my spirit and what I feel called to share with you all, which is that what we do in our everyday lives does make a difference, that it is revolutionary. When we parent with love, when we don't punish our children, when we trust our children to learn what they need to learn in their own time, a lot of it is parenting for me. They just turn out into the most incredible human beings. So yeah, I want those people to be drawn to me. That doesn't mean that people that are drawn more to political activism are wrong. It just means that we all have different areas of life that we're called to strongly and that we should listen to those calls. So one thing that I have done is that I have really stopped paying attention to mainstream media almost completely. I mean, now last year, I never watched mainstream media, but even when you're tuned into the alternative, you're getting the mainstream media because they're telling you what they're saying. I have unplugged even more in the past few months because I've shifted my focus. And why have I stopped paying attention? Well, a few reasons. I have seen that things are twisted over and over again. You can call it lies if you want to, but you could call it maybe it's not lies, but they're trying to manipulate things a certain way. Or maybe some people really don't think they're lying, but they just don't look at the bigger picture. Or they're zoomed too far in. They look at data in a very specific place and neglect to look at a bigger time scale or a bigger area. Things are pretty much consistently shown to us to keep us in fear. So because I have this core foundational understanding of how the world is working right now, I know that I don't need to keep tuning in because there's really nothing new. There hasn't been anything new for a long time now. So I absorbed so much last year. I was completely obsessive. So for people that feel more compelled to keep looking and keeping up and want to know what's going on, I understand it. I've been there. What I want to do is to show people why it's a good thing. You don't have to feel guilty if you do decide to unplug more. How do you do it? It's not a simple thing. You can't just turn it off. It takes time. You have to practice it. So how was I able to make that shift over the past 6 to 8 months? And then what's possible if we do that? And I think there's so much that's possible. So what does it do to my energy, right? When I unplug, well, now I'm not scared all the time. I'm calm. I don't know if I've ever felt this calm in my life. And it's been really the last week or two that I'm really noticing it again. I noticed it in the fall, and then I started getting anxious again a couple weeks as things started ramping up, and now I'm feeling calm again. When I'm calm, I'm able to just do things that feed my soul, and then I'm able to be more present with my family. And so it comes back to that. Do we believe that matters? Do we believe that's really going to make a difference? I do believe that. And if you believe that, I want to help you do that too. So my call to action today is to jump on over to my blog, www.togetherwalking.com. You can just remember togetherwalking.com. Jump on over to my webpage, togetherwalking.com, and buy this action guide I've made for you. It's $5, and I think it's really powerful. It's going to show you. You're going to go through a series of exercises. You're going to write down how you're feeling, and you're going to see how changing your habits changes your life. It's also a great way to support me. It's a one-time, you can think of it as a one-time $5 donation to keep Susan May going, to keep Rise Up with Susan May growing. So I really would appreciate you going over to togetherwalking.com, buying the action guide, and sharing it with people that you think need it. One of my dilemmas, you could say right now, is how do I reach people that really need this message I have? It's a bit challenging, as you can imagine, because of censorship, and because a lot of people are really quiet. The people that I think would benefit most from my message maybe are scared to they're scared to share things, they're scared to comment because their voices are basically silenced. They have self-censored themselves because they're scared of what others think. So I'm working on that. If you have creative ways, mostly what you can do to help me is share with other people, even if it's not publicly on Facebook. If you just in a conversation share, hey, I've been watching these videos, or check out this woman's blog, that would really help me. And in that vein, I am going to be opening a private free group where people can come and they can feel safe and we can talk about these kinds of things and not worry about who sees them. So those are my two things. I have a guide for sale, $5. I think it's really powerful and inspiring, and I would love for you to check it out and buy it. And keep your eyes open for an invite or a link to join my private free group. I love you all, and I hope you're having a great week. Thanks so much.